Hi, my name is Veronica Newton. I'm with the Agency of Education and here with my colleague, Greg Young.
Hello, Greg Young here.
And so welcome. And so now let's kick this off. So thank you so much for joining us this evening to our I Wish I Knew That program to pursue before you graduate session. We're going to kick it off with just going over the agenda. And so let's see here. So we're going to start off going through the agenda. And first, we're going to begin with the introductions. And then we're going to provide you with a bit of background information about the Flexible Pathways Initiative. And then Greg and I will kick off a series of questions, the Did You Know questions, and present you with some facts, and then just provide a couple follow-up questions so that we will find what it is that we want to talk about, what we want to further pursue tonight during the session. So the questions that are presented, you will be providing, we're really encouraging you that you participate in answering these questions, because then from there, the data that's collected will inform how we will proceed with the second half of the session. So through the deep dive and then the questions. Also, please note too that the slides and the links will be made available to you. We will be sending this presentation along to VSAC and for you all to be able to access it in addition to the recording.
Great. I saw the chat. I noticed in the chat we had about 12 students here in the group, and a whole range, some 8th graders up through 10th and 11th graders, and then a good group of parents here. And so thanks for joining, and we will really try to make sure we speak to the questions that you have specifically about some of the programs that we get to talk to you tonight about. So my name is Greg Young. I'm a former high school educator, and I work at the Agency of Education as the Career and College Readiness Coordinator. So I work most often and most closely with dual enrollment, early college, and our other college and high school initiatives.
And I'm Veronica Newton, the program manager for the personalized learning team. So Greg and I, we are on the same team together, and within our team, we have the dual enrollment program, early college program, work-based learning initiative, personalized learning planning process, education technology, and computer science. I am also a parent of 2 children. If you've noticed in the background, these lovely snowflakes we have an everlasting winter wonderland that my 7-year-old daughter has created. And they might be here maybe next year. So if we're welcome back, maybe we'll still see the snowflakes.
Yes, and thanks. I'm also the father of 2 school-age kids, so I don't have any there around at the moment, tragically.
All right, and so we have here, okay, so now we're going to segue, and please feel free, if you haven't already done so, please put your name and depending on your role, the additional information in the chat. So as that is continuing, now we're going to segue just into some background information about Act 77 and the Flexible Pathways Initiative. So the purpose of this initiative is to encourage and support the creativity of school districts as they develop and expand high quality and educational experiences that are an integral part of secondary education in the evolving 21st century classroom. So the Act 77 was passed in 2013. And our role as educators, it's our responsibility to promote flexible pathway learning opportunities, create programming to support school districts in creating local programs, and provide access to these learning opportunities with ample planning and preparation practices in order to ensure that our students are ready and prepared to engage in these learning experiences successfully. And so in Vermont, we define flexible pathways as any combination of high quality expanded learning opportunities, including academic and experiential components, which build and assess attainment of identified proficiencies and lead to secondary school completion, civic engagement, and post-secondary readiness. Flexible pathways allow students to apply their knowledge and skills to tasks of personal interest as part of their personalized learning planning process. And so for the purpose of tonight's session, we actually will be going over the following flexible pathway opportunities that are outlined in this Flexible Pathways initiative: work-based learning, career technical education, virtual and blended learning, the dual enrollment program, early college program, and the high school completion program. And so in order for us to best meet the need of our group tonight that we're all together, we're going to now segue into the Did You Know section to include facts and questions. And this next section will provide a fact about each of the above opportunities with a follow-up question to get a better understanding of the topics this group is most interested in learning more about.
Great. So here's our first question, and the format here will be, we'll read this off, and then I will launch a poll that'll have these two pieces here. So if this is something brand new to you tonight, you're gonna say, oh, I wish I know that, but now I do, right? If you already knew about it, then say I knew that already. And then again, if you'd like to learn more. So did you know that the dual enrollment program offers eligible Vermont juniors and seniors the opportunity to experience 2 college level classes for free? So should see a poll question here pop up. All right, we've got 81% of folks have responded. .23, okay. All right, I'm gonna give it just 5 more seconds here. Any last polling? Okay, so we have obviously done a good job sharing information about dual enrollment. So 22 of you did know about the voucher piece, but about half here would like to learn some more. So we'll tally that up and see where it sits with some of our other pieces. Great. I'll just move this window.
Did you know the early college program simultaneously serves as a student's senior year of high school and 1 academic year of college tuition free? And so the poll is up. Question number 1, please respond to yes, I knew that, or I wish I knew that, now I do. And number 2, would you like to learn more about this? Yes, no, or maybe. All right.
Great. Looks like we're just about there. 25, 26 of you have responded, 92%. Pretty good. All right, one last minute here. Okay, so a little bit more split on this one here. 50-50 knowing about early college, and a whole lot of you, 81%, wanting to learn more. So we'll bump this one up here. Great. Okay, and moving on to our next one. Did you know that a personalized learning plan, PLP, is meant to capture your interests and goals so that you can pursue flexible pathways to plan for and meet proficiency-based graduation requirements? So the PLP for flexible pathways. we're really taking advantage of the maybe button here for this question about PLPs. So yeah, a little more than half of you knew about PLPs and that connection. Not huge, overwhelming interest here. Maybe a little bit about PLPs. So we'll see where that fits in. Let's get these numbers down. 58, 42, 35. Okay.
Did you know career and technical education centers provide opportunities for students to earn industry recognized credentials, college credits, and paid work-based learning experiences? Once again, question 1, please select I knew that or I wish I knew that, now I do. And then question number 2, please identify whether or not you would like to learn more about this.
All right, just another few seconds here. All right, so a bit more than half here knew about CTE and the opportunities to connect. And so maybe no, we'll see where it fits here. Sorry, just stuck on the button here. All right. Did you know that any Vermont resident age 16 to adult unenrolled from school or at risk of disengaging from school can obtain a high school diploma through the high school completion program? And we'll launch that poll here. High school completion program. Okay, so we're got a good amount of awareness about this, but not looking like a huge topic of interest for this evening, for the most part. Let's move this guy.
Did you know that statewide support, with statewide support of the Vermont Virtual Learning Collaborative, students can design customized courses connected to their personal learning plan, all validated by a Vermont licensed educator? Once again, question 1, please select I wish I knew that, or I knew that and I wish I knew that, now I do. And number 2, please let us know whether or not you would like to learn more about this. And we have one more question, and then we're going to take that information and start diving into these topics.
All right, so take about 5 more seconds here to vote. All right, so we've got a little more than half of you are glad that now you know about this program from VTVLC, and a little more than half want to hear a little bit more about it. So we'll see where that fits in tonight. Oh, I guess I wasn't sharing. Here's the share there. All right, and our last question here. Did you know that there are a range of work-based learning opportunities available around the state that are designed to apply classroom learning to real-world settings? So work-based learning. All right. So we've got share results here. About half you knew about work-based learning, but a pretty big overwhelming percentage said they would like to learn some more about it. So that might move us into one.
All right.
All right. So
So
Veronica, I think we've got early college.
Yep.
Was our number one. It came in at 81% wanted to learn more, and then work-based learning about 72% came in there, and then dual enrollment 57, and Vermont virtual learning at 52. So we'll maybe we'll do that order: early college,
sounds great,
work-based learning, dual enrollment, and VTVLC.
Sounds good. And then also too, folks, if you have specific questions about any of these programs, specifically with regards to early college, work-based learning, and dual enrollment, please feel free to type them into the chat now as well, so we can also be fielding those questions as we're going over each of the topics.
Yep.
And Anna too.
Find the chat window here. Do we have any comments or questions so far?
I don't think so, not yet. Just a question about content, which I think has been answered, so you're good to go.
Okay.
All right.
All right, great. So let me just grab this again. Okay, so we will take a look here at early college. So early college is essentially a program where students replace their entire senior year with being full-time enrolled at college. So you're considered full-time status at the college, and you're actually completely unenrolled from either your high school or your home study program, depending on how that works. So it is for 12th grade students in Vermont. The approval process and the application process does take place during your 11th grade year. And so typically the process involves getting permission from your school. So usually you're talking to your principal, your guidance counselor, to make sure that early college is the right fit for you. And then you actually do apply for early college along with the sort of regular deadlines of the colleges. So you'll see on the slide the participating partnerships here in Vermont. So each of those schools will have their own deadlines for application deadlines, but you'll apply for that. And then in the application process, you know, letting the school know that you're applying as an early college student. And you basically, once you've been accepted, that it becomes your senior year. And so you end up unenrolling from your high school. So you can take part in the college as a full-time student. If you do wish to come back and get your high school diploma, students do choose to come back and re-enroll after they've kind of completed that second semester. They re-enroll to get their high school diploma. If you are a home study student, you unenroll from the program and you don't get a diploma anyway from the agency, but you are allowed to do that senior year as an early college student as well. So any questions on early college?
I noticed
Yep.
that there was one question, and I would like to talk a little bit also about the timeline if you want to cue to that
Oh, sure.
slide.
Yep.
But I just threw into the chat, and once again, too, at the end of the, after this presentation, we will be sending along the slides to Anna. And so within the slides, you will have embedded links and resources for you to access after this presentation as well. So Anna, thank you in advance. So I just threw into the link, there is, for the early college program, there's the disability service contact information, and that's for each of our higher ed partners specific to the early college program. And that's also located on our AOE website as well.
Yep.
And so while those questions are still coming in, I just want to go over one quick thing here to note. Just wanted to speak to the range of folks that are participating in this tonight. So the timeline, and here let's just look quickly at the early college program piece. And so Greg spoke about the application process and the approval process, but it's also really important that for students to really start planning. For students that are interested in early college, just to start planning earlier. And so, by statute, right, by, starting grade 7, students should be receiving college and career readiness planning and resources, but also even starting that like even further back into kindergarten, when you start thinking about what do you want to be when you grow up. So the planning really does happen at a younger age, but understanding that this early college program is available and that it's meant to take place of your senior year. And so I guess what I mean by planning is, what high school graduation requirements still need to be met. So in order, by the time you complete your early college year, you want to ensure that you're doing this so that you can also be receiving your high school diploma. And so ensuring that planning is done well in advance. And so, and when you're starting to look at your schedules and you are entering high school, and thinking about the courses and your graduation requirements and what are the outstanding requirements that you will be fulfilling through your time in the early college program. And then I don't know if there was questions, Greg, that might come up.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a few questions here.
Okay.
So we are glad to sort of follow up questions here. So we'll go with that. That was for MK. So students are encouraged, as far as with learning disabilities, are encouraged to connect with the colleges that they're applying for, and work with them about how those plans can kind of cross over and can be moved forward. So certainly can work with the colleges for doing that. Who pays for early college courses? Those are budgeted tax dollars that are paid for the courses.
So they come out through our, so those allocations are set aside through the annual budget.
Yep. So can early college students participate in their high school sports teams? And that is a great question because, as generally speaking, as a rule, students have unenrolled from their high school. So high schools are not necessarily obligated to have students participate. But that said, they often do make accommodations and figure out ways to get students to be able to participate. So that would be a great question to have sooner than later with your schools. What is the process? If I do early college, can I still participate? And make sure you kind of get that, sorted out before you make a choice about whether early college is right. So I think that would be a conversation that you have with your school.
For sure. And so I also, thanks, Greg. I just also threw into the chat a link to the Vermont Flexible Pathways profile tool. This is considerations for student participation in a flexible pathway. And so this is a set of guidelines, a set of questions really intended for students to complete with their school counselor when considering participating or engaging in any flexible pathway. So with that in mind, if you're thinking about early college, there are questions that for you to consider, how does this experience align with the learning goal? And has a student been made aware of and accepted the ramifications of participating in this learning experience, like so specific to that question, such as a loss to perhaps other academic or social opportunities and school benefits? Because as Greg mentioned, so when you do sign up for early college, you fully unenroll from high school and then you re-enroll at the end of the year. But how we also mentioned too, it's up to the school's discretion too to determine whether or not the students will have the opportunity to engage in those extracurricular activities. So yes, we strongly encourage communication and collaboration with your educators and your counselors within your high school to really dive through and work through these questions as part of the planning process.
Yep, great. And one more question here from Becky. Do credits earned in early college programs transfer to other institutions? That's a great question. And you are going to have to find out, you're probably going to have to find out case by case on those. I do know that many schools have a tool on the webpage. I know UVM has one where you're allowed to put in courses that you've taken elsewhere, and you'll see if they're able to be eligible. So, you know, you could absolutely, you know, if you're looking at this, you could put together like, hey, here's what I think I might take for courses in that year, and then bring those to another school that you're considering you know, applying to. And say, you know, will you accept these, or what's the process for that? So I would say that probably requires a little bit of legwork behind the scenes to make sure that the colleges you're considering would consider those classes. Certainly, if they're in the Vermont State College system, that's going to be a much easier thing to match up. But I would, you know, recommend connecting with your, you know, admissions folks and ask them what the process is for transferring in credits that you might have earned from an early college experience.
Great.
And sorry if that was a long-winded answer.
No, it was perfect. I was spot on. And so as you were responding to the question, I asked you, just threw in the link to the UVM site that you were referencing, the tool. So just for students and parents and guardians and counselors, just to get an idea as to what it is that we're talking about here. And so yes, so with regards to that piece and in the planning component and the importance of planning and preparation in advance of engaging in this early college experience, that most definitely is something to consider. And you know, if you do have plans of, you know, where you want to, what school or what plans or trade or career that you want to pursue after high school, and if you know, an institution of higher education is that pathway, and you might have in mind which college that is, definitely take a look in advance to find out if any of the courses will transfer.
Great. All right. Any other questions on early college before we move on to our next topic? And if we miss you, you can always just throw it down in the chat, and we'll circle back to it. So I think work-based learning was our next one. So I'll grab that slide for you, Veronica.
All right, work-based learning. There we go. So in Vermont, we define work-based learning as an educational program or experience involving student interactions with industry or community professionals in real, virtual, online, or simulated work environments that expose learners to post-secondary options, providing opportunities for skill development and proficiency attainment, as well as allowing students to reinforce and deepen their school-based learning. And I mean, work-based learning, like it's a great solution to answer, like, why do I need to know this? Why do I need to know this in school? Well, you know, here's an opportunity through these work-based learning experiences. It really is an opportunity to apply the learning that you are receiving in school to actual, authentic, relevant, real-world situations. And so in addition to our definition, so we have broken out in Vermont work-based learning opportunities into 4 different categories. So they're career awareness, exploration, preparation, and training. Let's see here. So one thing that I would love to do is, yeah, let's go to the next slide there. Okay. So now we have a chart. So earlier at the you know, when we were talking about early college, we were talking about the timeline and planning. And so for work-based learning, we do have something similar here, except one thing that's different is rather than identifying grade level, we really speak to age. And the purpose of that is to ensure that these experiences or opportunities, we just want to call out the importance of the child labor laws, as well as the Fair Labor Standards Act. And those are essential and critical, and age does matter with regards to participating in certain opportunities. So with regards to career awareness, I mean, this can start, you know, kindergarten all the way through senior year in high school. And, you know, like classroom days, or, you know, having someone come into the classroom, whether it's virtually or in person, or going site visits, career fairs. And then also we really want to incorporate the personalized learning plan into this chart as well to show you, well, how can we take advantage of work-based learning opportunities as part of our planning process. And so, when we're thinking about career awareness opportunities, we can use these experiences to really help shape and develop students' academic goals, their career goals, and also their interests that they may want to pursue during their high school years and afterwards. And then the career exploration, so that's becoming a little bit more intense, and that's when we're, informational interviews are conducted, there are job shadows so that you can have like certain hours on site, and also unpaid work experience. And so these work-based learning opportunities and experiences, by now, like within your personalized learning plan, you would want them to really align with the personal, academic, and career goals. And this is also can be an opportunity for you to really start capturing the learning that is taking place through exploration, preparation, as well as training opportunities, and being able to capture this learning and having it into your personalized learning plan. These demonstrations of learning can also be used towards demonstration of attaining proficiency around identified proficiencies prior to engaging in the opportunity itself. And then career preparation. So that's includes internships, paid work experiences, transition services, and CTE programs. So CTE centers definitely encompass and they're inclusive of work-based learning opportunities. It's actually an essential element within CTE programs. So with regards to the offerings that CTE programs provide through work-based learning, they definitely touch upon awareness and exploration, but also by going into the CTE centers, you will always have an opportunity to engage in preparation and perhaps career training opportunities. What questions do we have? I feel like I just talked quickly.
Yep, we got a great question here. Is it practical for students to pursue work-based learning in parallel with their regular coursework?
I guess I'm wondering, so in parallel, so I guess let's say for an example, you're taking a biology course and you are interested in finding an opportunity to really apply your learning and to deepen your learning and to expand upon your learning. And so by working with a work-based learning coordinator within your school and utilizing your personalized learning plan and that content piece, figuring out like what opportunities are available for me to really take advantage of my learning. And because if this is something I'm really interested in, or I want to find out if this is something I really want to continue pursuing and invest time and money in after high school, most definitely it would make sense to want to engage in a work-based learning opportunity.
And I think that can certainly be worked on in your schedule if you have a block of time that is maybe at the end of the day that could be used in conjunction with a bit of time after school. So, really kind of thinking about where a work-based learning experience might fit into your schedule. And a number of schools do have folks that work on being able to make that a reality so that you can have that work-based learning experience on one day a week, and you still have your other courses that you're taking that work around that. So there are certainly places that do that, and it's worth reaching out and connecting.
Any other questions?
All right, any last things on work-based learning, or shall we move on?
And also please note, if a question comes up after we continue to another topic, please throw them in the chat and we will do our best to address all questions that you may have.
Yep. Okay, so for our next one, we're going to be talking about dual enrollment, and I wanted to revisit the timeline slide here just to show where dual enrollment fits in. And you are able to start a dual enrollment course pretty much as soon as you complete your sophomore year, which generally means the summertime for your sophomore year. Now, that does mean that some colleges have summer courses that start in May. So if you're a sophomore student, in May, you're not going to be able to take that course because you haven't finished your sophomore year. But if you've got that course that starts on July 1, then you're eligible to take that. So it does matter on the timing, and it matters on the other end for seniors. They need to take classes that wrap up before graduation for those to be eligible. So you have that window of time. And just moving ahead here. Like I said, it is for all eligible 11th and 12th grade Vermont students. And you'll find our eligibility requirements on our webpage. And so students, upon completion of 10th grade, they receive 2 college course vouchers, and these are good for up to 4 credits at most colleges, and that's generally going to be the bulk of course offerings. There are a few 6 credit classes that you would not be able to use a voucher for. But generally speaking, the vouchers are used for courses at a pretty wide range of colleges in Vermont. And to work with those, you actually use a voucher system. It's a computer-based system that uses to track your vouchers, so you make requests of them, and you work with your counselor who approves the request. And then it just helps keep track of it on the other end, so that you don't receive a bill for the course that you took. And so, like I said, 2 vouchers, and you use the system. Do we want to look at some slides, a slide about the dual enrollment voucher system?
Sure, if you want to. While you're playing that up too, I just want to bring up as well that, and this applies for really all flexible pathway learning opportunities, and just in general, whether or not you want to pursue any of these flexible pathway opportunities, but if you want to just throw up the intro to college and careers course that's offered through CCV. And so this course is offered at no cost. It is separate and distinct from the dual enrollment voucher system, as well as the early college program. So with that in mind, you do not need to go through the dual enrollment voucher system to take advantage of this opportunity, but we strongly encourage students to participate in this course, as also to, like, if you're just to learn what college is about and what is, what the next steps are, and also as a kind of like as a preparing and a readiness measure for you to help determine whether or not you want to pursue dual enrollment programs and or the early college program. And information about that course is also located on the CCV website, which I can pull up and throw into the chat.
All right. So just had a quick question about what the cost of the credits are for what you might be saving. And so dual enrollment does have a different rate that is set by our state legislature. And so it is based on the Community College of Vermont rate, which is a little boring, but so it does vary, but that's what the state does pay for early college credit. So it's the cost per credit is $280 per credit. So if you're taking a 3-credit class, that's an $840 cost savings. So you take a couple of dual enrollment classes, or if you take a full slate of 4 early college courses, you could calculate a pretty good cost savings that's there. So just a quick overview. We do have this website. It is called dualenrollment.vermont.gov. And right now we are starting to look at approving vouchers for summer. So if students are making course requests for the summer, those are now in our system. So if you're a 10th grader currently, then you are certainly eligible to start looking at these. And if you're already 11th grader, then obviously you are as well. So essentially the process is that you request an account. Your high school coordinator will approve that account. In the case of home study, that happens from our team at the AOE. There's some profile and household information you complete, and then you basically use the website to find the course that you want to take, and you request a voucher for it. And that process, we do actually recommend that when you decide to come in and actually do this, that you have a course in mind that you want to take. So usually that usually starts on the college's websites, using their course catalog and finding out courses that you want to take, finding out when the courses meet, and how many seats are available. Some classes do fill up, so you want to make sure you're finding a course that's going to work with your schedule, and it also has open seats. So once you've kind of got that figured out, you could have a couple courses that you're looking at. Then you come into the system, and like I said, you do go in and request that voucher for that specific course that is in there, and then the course is approved, by your coordinator, and then you are all set to register for that course. And you will, there's usually a very small fee that you just pay. It's a $10 to $40 fee, I think, depending on the college. Although there are scholarships available, so there are book and stipend scholarships available. So if you do have a need base, you can get that through the voucher system. And that's essentially how it works. So everybody gets those 2 vouchers, and they get processed through the voucher site. And we are here to help support that for folks. So any other questions about dual enrollment that folks have?
We did have one, Greg, going back a second, about work-based learning. There was a question about whether it's something that students can do in the summertime.
Yep.
Got it. So that's an excellent question. And once again, with regards to work-based learning at the state level, so we have our programming and the planning, but what the program looks like is really how that program is developed is really is shaped at the local level. So depending on your school district and your supervisor, how that looks within the summer, because we know that work-based learning opportunities, we would want to have the work-based learning coordinator be involved with regards to the safety, ensuring the safety of the site, and also with the supervisor and the employer that is also engaged in this work. And also too, with regards to if you're going to be taking advantage of this opportunity as a measure to demonstrate your learning towards proficiency attainment, or towards acquiring credits towards a certain content area. I strongly encourage that you have that conversation, or the conversation should happen well in advance of engaging in that opportunity if it does happen over the summer, because then a lot of that responsibility becomes a lot more independent on the student itself, and to ensure that they're gathering that information, and whatever timeline is planned, for that assessment component to be built in, knowing that if school is out of session, that assessment piece would have to be built in for the following year, and you would want to do that well in advance. So it is possible, however, it's not necessarily guaranteed, and that's just a conversation that we would strongly encourage that you have with your school counselor or your school work-based learning coordinator. And if you have any follow-up questions, or if I wasn't really answering that fully, please.
I would love to make a quick follow-up question, jumping up to the next section. I did see a dual enrollment question there as well that I don't want to let slip either. So let me just first introduce this virtual learning piece here, and then I'll jump back to those dual enrollment questions. So like the question originally asked about whether you could do a work-based learning situation in the summertime, and as Veronica said, that's really going to depend on your school. But one of the programs we do have through the state, the Vermont Virtual Learning Collaborative, every secondary school, so all middle schools, high schools, are eligible to be partners with the VTVLC, and through that partnership, they get access to some different different types of courses. One of them that they have is called the PASS program. And so that is actually specifically designed that it could work with something like a work-based learning experience. So if you had something in the summertime that you were doing some type of work or some type of internship, you could actually leverage a Vermont virtual course to coincide with that. So you'd be matched up with a teacher. So say you're trying to do an internship and you wanted to get some science credit for it, you could work with that and kind of set that up as a sort of remote study. So that is a option that is out there. So
thank you for following.
shall I go through a few more of the virtual pieces, or should I address those dual enrollment questions first?
Let's see. So I can, and I appreciate that, and that the connection piece to the work-based learning, and so providing the alternate route, to actually take advantage of what's out there through the PASS program. One question that did come up, and I'll field this one. So dual enrollment early college. So with regards to your for dual enrollment, 2 courses, free courses that you can take advantage of either your junior and senior year, or either junior year or senior year. So let's say I am a sophomore in high school and I took the Intro to College and Careers course, and I'm loving college life and I'm going to do this. So my plan for junior year is I'm going to take advantage of 2 dual enrollment courses. I'm going to take a dual enrollment course my fall semester, and then I'm going to take a dual enrollment course my spring semester. So I've taken my 2 courses, which now means that I do not have any other dual enrollment vouchers available during my high school career. However, during this time, also junior year, I apply for to participate and engage in the early college program through one of the early college partners schools. And so I get accepted. So what that means is now I can take advantage of a full year of college in place of my senior year. So that's 4 courses for fall semester and 4 courses for the spring semester. So a total of 10 courses is what these programs can provide for you. I mean, and also too, during your, for your early college, I mean, if there's nothing to hold you back from, going beyond the standard full-time status. And so if you have the time and capacity to overload and take more than the general 4 courses, that's also an option for you to consider as well.
Yep. And the question about how do dual enrollment classes fit into the school day? That's the same thing. You're going to want to probably have a conversation with your counselor. You can look and see what the like I said, in the college course catalogs, you can see what the options are. So some courses do have options that are later in the afternoon. More condensed time, maybe twice a week instead of 3 times a week. But if it is a during school day time, maybe there's a way that you can work your schedule to allow that time to be, spent. You can go to the library or use if you're home, just break out for the course time. But that's going to probably be a conversation to have with your school. And since you can use the course for high school, you might drop your high school load by a course to take that dual enrollment piece. Maybe that frees up a time to do that. So but definitely worth connecting with your high school counselor about timing, and then referencing the different course catalogs to find out when the courses are. Okay, any other questions there about the dual enrollment early college? Can we move on to the remaining virtual pieces? So we did mention the PASS program, which is an option that you can reach out to your high school counselor and talk to them about putting together an option like that, and whether you can use some of the schools seat time pieces for that piece. You may have heard about a collaborative school option that this year provided sort of full-time online courses for students. So we had a number of teachers and students who decided they wanted to do that full-time this year. And so there was a new program created to be able to share in the having certified Vermont educators who are going through the online teacher training program, working with those students. So they really kind of came together, and we're anticipating, that will continue in some way for students moving ahead. So, we did see a lot of students really benefited from the fully online experience and the way they were able to work with their teachers. Found it to be a really positive experience. So we do anticipate some of that going forward. We also do this year unleash sort of a new version of the Vermont virtual curriculum. So Vermont virtual has course curriculum covering all the subject areas across all the grade levels. And so that curriculum is now available for educators to use as like a Vermont virtual to go, which is another way that you could link together like a job-based or work-based learning experiences through, working with a teacher who's pulling content from a few different Vermont virtual courses to build, a unique course for you. But for teachers, they've had opportunities to get certified and learn how to do professional development with the pieces. And like I said, we've drastically increased the amount of online that's available for students, and have received very positive survey feedback from students and educators and families that are part of that. And that would be available from our Vermont virtual learning provider, who's always available to reach out and connect with folks who have more questions. So if you want to learn more about Vermont virtual, again, that's a conversation with your high school and how it might fit in with making some other things work out. If you are considering a summer piece, you might consider a past program to work on getting some academic credit for that. So I know we've been answering questions along the way. I don't know if we want to transition to any more questions that folks have.
And also too, while we're giving some time to type in any additional questions, I did throw into the chat a link to VSAC, the Vermont Student, thank you, VSAC, for hosting this entire college and career fair, but specifically to their financial aid page as well, that can provide additional information for students that are interested in pursuing the early college program and also are looking for available scholarships or funding to pay for the additional costs. So both with dual enrollment and early college, as Greg had mentioned, the courses themselves are paid for, but there may be additional costs with regards to books and lab fees. And so with that in mind, through the dual enrollment program, you have access to request a stipend through that voucher system. But with regards to the early college program, we work closely with VSAC in order for students to really gain access to those financial aid opportunities. Thank you, Anna, because you're great partners. You really make this happen for all of our students.
And I'll say, I just threw in the chat too, just a reminder to everyone who attended tonight, we are offering weekly contests as part of College and Career Pathways. And for every live session you attend, you get one entry. So definitely click on that link and enter if you are interested. We're picking 4 winners for $50 Visa gift cards each week. And I saw a question about whether the sessions are going to be available to watch later. And the answer is yes, we're recording them and we'll be linking to it from our event webpage within the next day or two, which is vsac.org/CCP. And it's also up on our VSAC's Facebook page.
vsac.org/CCV?
CCP, like College Career Pathways / I can put that in the chat as well.
Okay, great.
Great. So if you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to us. You can reach our group at either aoe.earlycollege@vermont.gov or aoe.dualenrollment@vermont.gov. And then again, I'm Greg Young and Veronica Newton here. You can reach out to us with additional questions.
Yeah, definitely, anytime. And also too, if you collect any questions as well, always Anna will send along any additional questions that she may collect. For those of you that may be watching this program, we're sending along this video to friends and family to watch at a later date.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Veronica and Greg, for presenting all of this information. And thank you everyone else for joining tonight. We've got a number of other sessions going on over the course of the month, so check them out. We would love to have you, and we will be making recordings from everything available on our webpage for anything that you can't make it to live.